Talanoa Ako, and welcome to the first episode, the first in a new season of Talanoa Ako, the parent radio program. My name is Karl Vasau, and currently I'm the principal of Rowandale School in Manurewa. I've been doing these shows for quite a while, and but really enjoy it. And I'll get my beautiful co-host to introduce herself and say a few words.
Hi everyone, talofa lava. My name is Oliana Eniata. I teach at St. Paul's College in Ponsonby, Auckland. I'm Samoan, grew up in Otara, and I reside in Mangere. I have children who have already come through the education system and children that are still in it. They're in primary and secondary. So yeah, this is a little bit about me. Over to you again, Carl.
And I think what Oliana said there makes this a unique program because the educators that lead these programs are all parents themselves, and so we bring that experience into this, and we just want to share a little bit of ideas and a little bit of thoughts around how better to equip you supporting your child at school. Each week, you'll have a presenter, and these things are presented in different languages. So the Talanoa Ako program is presented in English. Me and Oliana, we're the best speakers of English. Then there's the Samoan program, there's the Tongan program, Cook Island program, Tokelauan, Fijian, and Tuvalu. And wonderful educators front these each week with different themes for that week. The Talanoa Ako program is a parent program by parents for parents. It creates an opportunity for our parents to become champions for their children's education. And it's vital that, if you can, and you are tuning in today, listening to us or watching us live stream, well done, because it's just that little bit of extra step towards you having the skills to better support your child. So today's session is called Getting Back to School. And I'm sure some of you, this could not have come sooner because I'm sure you are really getting to the end of looking after your children and dealing with them. It's a session just about some tips and some ideas about how you should approach the new year and how you should and how you could support your child. And so first up, we've got Oliana just sharing a few tips about some of the things that parents should know.
Yeah, so like as we gear up for the start of 2026, I know households across New Zealand are feeling a bit of, mixed. I know some of our tamariki don't want to go back, and we've got parents that want them to go back. So we've got some excitement and nerves, going on right now. But I want to remind you that starting school, transitioning to a new year level, or moving to a new school, it's a big milestone for our children and young people. Whether you've got a 5-year-old walking into year 1 for the first time, or a year 9 navigating a new college, or even a teenager starting their final year, or year 13, this is a huge moment in their journey. So I guess as a teacher, my best advice is to treat this week like as a transition period. Okay, so practical prep is important. So we should start reestablishing those routines, especially sleep. I feel sleep is a big one. What about you, Carl? You been
Yeah,
getting
my
enough
son,
sleep?
honestly, it's my son because at the moment, he's doing those really late nights. And I've been saying, hey, put your device away, school's
Yeah.
coming. And so, yeah, could not agree more.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, get those sleep routines, start practicing, even with the young tamariki, start, going through the morning run through, start now. But more importantly, I think what's important as well is preparing them emotionally. So, talking about the changes coming up, listening to what they're worried about, reminding your tamariki that it's okay to feel butterflies, it's okay to feel nervous. It takes a lot of mental energy to adapt to a new classroom, a new teacher, new friends. So at St. Paul's College, we started back last week, and
Mm.
I saw a lot of nervous tamariki. Have you started back, Carl?
I know we start back next on the 2nd of February.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I was at school that want to get in there early. So we started last week, and as teachers, we try our best to reassure our students that they'll be okay. But so parents, they need to check. You need to check in with your child, not only before school, but most importantly after school. Don't just ask them, "Oh, how's your day?" Like you could ask them, like on a scale 1 to 10, how are you feeling right now? Okay, what would help you move up to number one? What can I do to help you? Um, even questions like, what is the worst thing that could happen to you today? Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it together. You know, what is one goal you have for yourself this term? Okay, you could talk about, goals, and do you feel like you have everything ready, or are you prepared? Do you have everything in your bag? I think that's another thing that can cause some sort of anxiety is not feeling prepared, not having a stationery. I know my son, he hasn't started yet either, and he's like asking me, "Are you buying my stationery? Are you buying my stationery?" So,
Mm.
I think it's just making sure that your child's ready. So, they could feel a bit shy going to, start their class and they don't have the right equipment or whatnot. So, if just talk to your school, talk to their teacher, okay? If you have any, I guess, any worries, all right, and try and start your child's, in the morning, because I've learned this as a parent, try and start their morning happy. I know sometimes because we're rushing around, and especially in that first week, you're just you're trying to get back into routine. And my advice is to start the morning happy. Okay, if you start the morning happy with your child, they'll have a happy day. So try and start happy, so your child can have a good day. But yeah, just remember that we are ready for them. Us teachers, we're ready. We're excited to see them. We've prepared. We've planned, and we're here to work with you, to help them settle in. So yeah, what do you think, Carl? You got anything to add there?
Yeah. I think also what's important is that sometimes it's not able for all both parents to be involved at the school. So when
Yes.
I leave for work each morning to go to school, it's around about 7:15, 7:30, and sorry, 6:15, 6:30, and my son is still asleep. And then when I get home, usually after 5, he's resting and all the action. So you need to make time to check how your
Mm,
child's day was. You also need to make time to whoever is taking your child to school. How was it? Did he have enough lunch? Do
mm,
you need anything? Because what's important is making sure that whoever is taking your children to school, they're supported as well. They're supported to also get along wherever possible. Make sure, like Oliana said, get in there and see those teachers, get in there and offer some support, some advice, but just be visible for your baby, be visible for them. You turn up. Sometimes they may not look like, oh my gosh, why are you here? But honestly, deep down inside, they'll love it. They love the fact that their parents are there, especially if you're not one of those ones going, hi, darling. Those
mm.
ones. Don't be
With
that
the phone,
one. Just,
the
yeah,
phone.
just be those ones. Come here, my baby. Oh, but that's beautiful too. So
Yeah.
anxiety, definitely, definitely.
Just want to add to that, like what you said, be visible. Yeah, really listen to your child, eh? When your child comes home, like I've had a bit of, fair share of this, put your phone down. Listen to what they say, and I could be guilty of this. Sometimes I'm on my phone and I'm like, oh, I need to send this email. But really listen to your child. Um, and even what they don't say, try and listen, like just what you think they don't say, how they're feeling. And I think having realistic expectations, okay, for your child. Yeah, I guess transitioning is tiring, and your child might be grumpy or exhausted, especially in their first week. And that's okay. Don't expect it to be perfect immediately. Just, I guess, offer patience and a steady hand while they find their feet. And I know, Carl, as a parent, we're quite involved. Every parent is different. And knowing that your child's education really matters. Okay, from the first days in your, early learning through primary and secondary schooling, your child's education really matters. And we need to remember it's a marathon, not a sprint. When it comes to, our child's education, every single day counts. And I guess as a secondary teacher, I can tell you that the support you give them while they're 5 years old, that support when they're 5, it lays the foundation and the groundwork for their success when they're older, when they're teenagers, when they're in high school. So, whether you're learning to share blocks or learning calculus, you got to make sure your encouragement is the constant fuel that keeps them moving forward. And yeah, we're in this together for the long haul. Yeah. So is there anything you'd like to add, Carl, to that?
I think we other episodes for other sessions for our Talanoa Ako program will go deeper into looking at how to equip yourself, doing routines, sorting out those things. So this was just a little, the beginning of the year is important, so stay focused on that. So that's as parents, stay focused on that being important. And so another thing that needs to be considered is that the government had set really high expectations right across and right from the start about attendance. And it's important that we make sure that our children attend every day as much as possible. Now, their target for our kids is that 80% of our children will be attending school 90%. And that works out as fewer than 5 days off per term. But we're asking that children stay away for if they're sick or if there's an emergency or there's something really important in your family. One thing that's important for parents to remember is that you need to understand the effect the time they're having away is having on their learning or breaking up their learning. When you've got content to learn in secondary school and you've got assessments in relation to NCEA, it's important that if you're going to go away for a family holiday or you're going to go away for a funeral, this has a huge detrimental effect. So your children have to be super, super organized and yourself about this. And what's important is if you're going to have these days off as a parent, especially in secondary school, I should know what's coming up in relation to their assessments. I should know what's due. In a primary school, you should know the calendar about how this is going to affect your children. We are not saying that staying away from school for things like funerals or things like huge birthdays or going away for family holidays are not important. But what's important is that you have to understand how this is affecting your child's education. There's so much learning in having a day off in relation to things like a funeral. There's so much that they learn, and we know that as young Pacifica people ourselves, what you get out of attending something like that. But it's just that effect that it has on children. So every school has got a attendance management plan in place now to show how they're going to shift attendance. Attendance was really poor when we came back from COVID, and it was really slow getting people back. So we need to get back to a routine where it's normal to be at school every day. I know that we made a huge conscientious effort last year at my school, and it's important. And we saw huge shifts in attendance, but also we still have some children that are having large amounts of time off school. Anything to add in relation to that for your context? Ollie?
Just I know you spoke about attendance, but that also includes being or like children being at school on time. That's also important. I know that there's a lot of students that do show up or turn up late. Like it causes disruption in the class. Just not just for the classroom teacher, but also for other students. And just imagine like that student that's also coming late. They arrive late and then they often feel like flustered but anxious, and they've started their day, but not the best way. So I feel not only attendance but also getting to school on time is really important. So yeah.
Because we see that, if you turn up late to work, you get punished or possibly even fired. And so what's important is if a child is turning up late, that causes huge anxiety because they've missed what everyone else has done. And it's really embarrassing sometimes for some children to walk into a classroom that's already started. So set them up with success straight away, on time, turning up, engaged and ready to learn. And that kind of leads to a little bit about some of the other things that parents need to make sure that they are prepared for. So I'm a principal of a primary school, and sometimes it amazes me how many parents haven't enrolled their children yet to start the year. And so we've got so many people ringing up saying, I'd like to enroll my child. Oh, where have you been? Oh, these things there help schools plan and prepare. And so if schools aren't getting pre-enrollments, then they can't plan how many teachers they need in certain blocks, or how many teachers or subject choices for high school, things like that. So please, it's one of the most important things. If you haven't already enrolled your child yet, get down to a school and have a talk. Most schools have enrollment information on their website. So you can visit their school website and download it and fill it in yourselves. On their website, they'll have dates. They'll have a whole lot of dates about athletics day, swimming day, when the porphyry is, meet the teacher, when the assemblies are. So those are those times when you can engage and you participate. You're already creating a calendar. And later in another one of our sessions, we talk about having routines and having plans in place in your house. So, we're just pointing these out to you at the moment, that there are so many things that you could possibly do in relation to that. Oli, there's something that always kind of confuses me, or in relation to, I know that in schools they have a thing called a portal, or an online portal. Can you please just explain for our parents, what does that look like, so that every secondary parent listening to us today is going to get on the phone or get online and enroll?
Yeah, so I guess what do you guys use in primary? You guys use apps?
Yep. So we've got ETAP, we've
Yep.
got those kind of ones.
Yes,
But I
sorted.
know that use ones that you can actually, I think you can look at results and things, or
Yep. So
assessments.
so we have Kmart at St. Paul's. Yeah, I know parents need to know how to access, schools online parent portal, and we use Kmart. And I guess it is one of the most powerful tools you can have to partner with the school. Instead of asking, how was your school, or how was your day today? You get that reply, oh, you're good, good. You usually get that good. And like when you check their portal, when you check Kmart, like you can say, oh, I saw you had a great result in English. That's, I guess that's another way you can I guess connect with your child. Is checking that Kmart. So every parent has their own like login. Us teachers have our logins, but every parent can go and check their child. It's not just for, I guess, education, like for their results, but also you can look at their attendance. I used to look at that a lot, especially for my daughter, to see if she's made it to class. And then I'll be like, why were you late to class? Why were you late to class today? Period two. So I think that's a really good like a good tool, okay, for parents. So and yeah, also, it's good conversation as well to have with your child. Oh, I noticed you missed the class. I did that a lot with some of my older kids. I noticed you missed the class today. What happened? What was up? So I guess it changes, like I feel like they called it nagging. I called it I was supporting, but they're like, oh, why are you always checking up on me? But I feel as a parent, as remember, they're not parents yet, they're only children. I feel that's how another way to support our tamariki is you know making sure that you're set up, you're logged in, especially early in the year. If you don't have all the login details, you need to get in contact with the school. Okay. It just bridges that gap between the classroom and I guess home. You know, I know here at St. Paul's, we not only use Kmart, but we also use Schoolbridge. I know Carl, you talked about as a parent, like going and knowing like where the porphyry, all those special dates and stuff. It's important. That's important as well, and it's all there in the app. It's all there in the parent portal. So yeah, I think it's a priority to download the app, or save the bookmark. And like I said, if you're stuck, you need to go see the school. You need to see the office staff. Okay, we're all there to help. Okay, don't let technology be the barrier between you and your child's education. You need it. You need it. You need that. You need to get onto the app, that parent portal. So yeah, is there
Yes.
anything else you wanted to add, Carl?
Yeah,
About
and
that?
there are other platforms like Classroom Dojo. there's Facebook, there's WhatsApp, there's different ways in which schools communicate with you or share how their day went. There's portfolios that come back in home in ECE. But one of the biggest ones, especially in primary and ECE, is going along inside, spending a few moments here and there, try and just get alongside or have a look at your kid in action in class. But of course, make sure you tell them that you are doing this so that you don't surprise them big time. So that was our theme for our week 1. And I hope that you've learned a little bit more from Oliana and myself. Next week, we're going to be looking at goals and aspirations. And it's more about making sure that you, like Oliana was saying, that you sit down, you talk, and then you put some of that talk into action, or you put some of that talk into some kind of scaffolding, bridging kind of support for you. So enjoy your start of the year. Make sure that your kids get there on time and every day. And I hope that everything goes smooth for you. Enjoy your week, Oliana, as well. And
Yeah.
yeah,
Enjoy
say hello
study
to
back.
all my friends. I
Enjoy
reckon.
study back at school.
Thank you, my friend.
All right
All right.
then.
God
Take
bless.
care.
See you later, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.